Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you both so much for taking time and coming on the show. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us, Rocco. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. Thank you. So the first question I'm going to ask is actually for Aaron, and you wrote the short with Parker, and what inspired you both to write the short and create it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, quite a few years ago, I was actually researching for a different project, and I was reading a book called "The Singularity Is Near" by an author named Ray Kurzweil. And there's this great quote from it where he sort of talked about, how death is a tragedy, and that the way our brains work is that every person you ever meet in your life, there's sort of a pocket of neurons in your brain that have self-organized around that interaction. And so when people say it felt like a piece of themselves died that day, there's actually some biological truth to what that phenomenon is happening, that we actually lug around tiny parts of our brain that will never get accessed again after someone dies. So the idea
Wow.
of the short was that, well, wait, what if there was a drug that we could find that could pinpoint and target those neuron clusters and give you the ability to have more experiences with your lost loved ones. And there's been quite a few projects over the years that involve living in memories or bringing people back from the dead. I think the thing that we were so excited was the idea of, well, in our dreams, which are already this sort of ambiguous place that we live in every night, what happens if we could spend more time, and then what happens if that drug was bad for you, because the grieving process in general is something that most people struggle with,
Oh,
and there's a lot of advice and a lot of different feelings as to whether how to do it and how you should do it, and so we sort of felt like, well, wait, there's this easy way to do it, but what would happen if there was a lot of cost to it? And I think we just sort of rolled it from there, and out of that sort of came As Easy as Closing Your Eyes.
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And Laura, like, how did you find out about the film and get to be one of the leads?
Yeah, it is definitely, I feel like I really lucked out. I went to school with Aaron. We know each other from University of Illinois. We were classmates. That was a while ago.
At least
But
a
we've
couple of
both
years ago. At least a
a
couple.
couple years ago. But we've both been in LA kind of doing our thing, but hadn't been in touch much. And then I think that once the script was ready and they were kind of getting the wheels turning on producing it, I got an email from Aaron asking to read it, and I read it and was just kind of knocked off my feet. I just loved it. I fell in love with it, and I thought, oh, this is going to be so sad because I love it so much, and then I'm not going to get it, and it's just going to be such a bummer. But I just, it was one of those ones where you read it and immediately it's like, oh, I know exactly what this is. I get it. Like, I don't have to do much. I just have to like
Yeah.
open up to it, and then I auditioned and thankfully ended up getting cast. So
Wow. And this is also for you, Laura. Like when you're first looking over the script and you're reading what the film is and who you're gonna play in the film, like what did you love about reading the script for like the first time?
yeah, I think well, I loved a couple things is it was written with such a like sensitivity and specificity. Like the relationships were so clear and heartfelt, that I feel like for me as an actor is the easiest way in is if I get a real sense of who the people are to each other. That makes everything else so easy. And it was just written in a way that was just very clear, but not heavy-handed or anything like that. It was just simple and clear. And then also accompanying the script was an incredible lookbook that just showed such a strong vision and a very uh, fully rendered world. So you could just feel that Aaron and Parker had put so much into creating something that was just fully dimensional and real. So both of those things really just I was like, man, this is really special. I really hope I get to do it.
Wow, okay. Aaron, you definitely like found a great cast and you also have a great crew, and one of the crew is actually a Modern Family star, Nolan. And how did you wind up getting him for the short?
Yeah, it's interesting. So Parker, my co-writer and the director of the film, Parker and Nolan, and actually Sean, who plays the other lead in the film, all three of them were in a movie years ago called Field of Lost Shoes. When Nolan was pretty young, Nolan was, still sort of looked more like the Modern Family Nolan than current adult Nolan that we know.
Yeah.
And so the three of them really bonded on that project. And, I think over the years, they just stayed in touch and stayed close friends. And as Nolan got a bit older, he sort of started talking about wanting to be stepping more into a producer role, wanting to get, he still acts, but wanting to get, behind the camera a bit more. And so it was when this project was being developed, Parker reached out to Nolan and Nolan. So we had done a year before the short, we made 2 fake PSAs, like 2 fictional PSAs about the dangers of Amesten, the drug in the movie. And Nolan was the lead in one of those. And you can see those PSAs on our website as well. So Nolan had acted had been part of the sort of the greater world of this project before. And then on this one, I think, Parker and him talked, and there was just a desire to take on a little bit more responsibility and be more part of the team. And it was amazing. Nolan is an incredible human being. I can't say enough great things about him. I think he's smart and very aware, and he was a real asset to the team from the get-go.
Oh wow, that's so awesome. I mean, he seems nice.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And Laura, like of course, without giving too much away, is there a certain scene that you had the most fun filming, or a scene that you like doing the most?
I'm trying to think of what would not give things away. Can I talk about the airplane scene?
Oh yeah.
I think I can. Yeah. So there's a scene when there's a beautiful scene that is shot where I am with my son and we're playing with a toy airplane, and we were out obviously in the elements, and this airplane turned out to be maybe a little more complicated to get it to function properly in the way we wanted to. And of course we're in daylight, so the sun is like doing what it does and setting, and we had to like get this plane to fly and then make it look like my child is flying it, but then have it like make the right path in front of the camera. And it just was like really tough to finally get it. I think Aaron might have been the one to finally do it.
Parker. It was Parker.
Parker.
Yeah,
Okay, Parker gets all the credit.
Rocco, so what had happened was we had bought these model airplanes and we had tested them out, and they were super easy to control. And then we got to the day of, and they were just a nightmare, like with all the story in the book. And later on in the day, Dawson, who plays Bodie in the movie, he wanted to try flying it himself, and I handed him the controls and realized that there was a small little control on the side that went from easy, medium, expert, and so someone had flipped that up. So we were trying to fly the planes on expert mode, and it was just a nightmare. So I mean, credit to Parker, he managed to pull it off, and like it was just one of those moments where we're like, wow, is it all about to fall apart? Is this all falling apart right now? But those are some of the most fun moments.
But then, yeah, once we got it, everyone was just like, the celebration was just it was incredible because everyone was so relieved. And then like every time the plane would go down, it was probably Nolan who had to like run a half a mile to get the plane and bring it back. It was a moment of triumph. So that was one of the most memorable and most fun scenes, I think, for me.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
It's stressful and funny. Yeah, it was,
funny now.
It's funny now. Funny now.
Yeah. And Aaron, where did you wind up filming?
So we filmed, we filmed around Los Angeles. Our producer, some of it's filmed at one of our producers had a great house in Laurel Canyon and graciously opened it up for the crew to come film there. The sequence that Laura was talking about was filmed at the Las Virgenes National Park, which is this beautiful open canyon, just unbelievable vistas of hills and stuff like that. I mean, we filmed, we filmed at the Universalist church in Studio City, beautiful venue, and they were fantastic to work with. So it was nice. It was one of those where we had enough variety of locations that the film has different looks and it feels like it's lived in. And also, it wasn't something that like, you know, we had to drive hours and hours to get specific shots. We were able to sort of keep it relatively local to LA.
Yeah.
Nice. And what about the score too, Aaron? Like to me, like a real important thing about a film is the score, the
I mean,
songs.
yes, 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 yes. So we went on a pretty big, it was really important to us. And we went on a pretty big search to find the right composer. And just unbelievably luckily, we got in touch with a composer named Mandy Hoffman, who works out of New York. And it was just a match made in heaven. That sequence Laura's talking about the airplane flying, like I can't wait for people to see this, because what happens during that scene with the music, it's just unbelievably beautiful what she did, and the themes that she made and what she brought to it. I mean, her and Parker had a really special relationship, and the two of them really spent a lot of time talking, and then it was just a huge part of making it. And then at one point, you know, we were a small short film, but Mandy was like, hey, there's this thing called the Fames Project, which is like I think it's a 60-piece orchestra in Macedonia. And if you guys can find, you know, a little extra in the budget, we can get a full actual orchestra to record the music. And we did. And it just took, you know, it's you know, the music of movies. I mean, it's such an integral part of the magic. And I think what she ended up doing, and what the, you know, it's one of my favorite parts of the film. Like it just is. I mean, I could listen. I'm not tired of listening to it. You know, I could listen to it on my computer while I did other. It's so gorgeous. And I think, you know, between, you know, Laura's performance and then the music backing of that, and then, you know, the photography of our director of photography, Zach Sandberg, just like everything coming together, it does that thing where you're just like, oh, this is so beautiful. So yeah, we really lucked out, and super grateful to Mandy for her work.
Oh wow, okay. And Laura, like when you have your downtime on set, when it's not like your time to be on there, what do you like doing in between takes?
I love crafty. I like
Okay.
snacks. It's always good snacks on a set. No, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what we're doing on the day. Like there were a handful of pretty emotionally loaded scenes, and so I find when I'm kind of getting ready to do something that's going to be demanding in that way, I feel like I have to kind of just be vamping in this mode where I can kind of sustain that my imagination and kind of be ready at any moment to drop into it and be there and be ready. So I can't do anything too consuming. I have to kind of be in like this limbo, which is, you know, it's kind of tiring. It was challenging to sustain that for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, so kind of just meditate on what the scene is. I'll look over the lines. Sometimes chatting. It was really nice talking with Sean, because that was one of those relationships that just felt really natural and organic. So being able to just hang out and talk and get to know each other kind of helped keep me in the world and in the zone and ready to go. So yeah.
Okay. And this question is for the both of you. Besides the plane scene, is there any cool stories from the set?
Let me see. Plane scene's definitely up there. You know, yeah, go for it, Laura.
Oh, I was just gonna say the contact lenses.
Okay.
There's a really cool effect with the the effect that the drug has on people who use it,
Yeah.
where the eyes get very red, and we use these sclera, I think is what it's called.
Sclera contacts, yeah.
Sclera lenses, and they're basically like giant contact lenses that cover like like your whole eye. And it took me, I went over to Aaron's apartment before on the first try to try to get it in. And I sat there for like, I don't know how long. And then I started panicking, and I just said, I'm just going to go home. I have to go home and do it at home. And then it took me about an hour and a half, almost like 2 hours to get the first one in. And
Oh my
then
God.
45 minutes to get the second one in. So, but then it gets easier the more you do it. But I was kind of terrified for a minute that like, I'm not going to be able to figure out how to get it in there. But it got easier, and I think it is totally worth the struggle because they look so awesome.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, it's just, and once you get a little bit more anxious about it, it's like your eyes are doing the thing. It's like you gotta like, you almost have to eat a Xanax before you try doing it. No, and that, yeah, totally. One of the other funny stories I think that comes to mind is we were at our producer's house in Laurel Canyon about to shoot, and the entirety of the power on the whole block went out. We had an entire
Oh my
power
God.
in the block, and it's one of those things where, like, you know, every day of production you've budgeted for it, and you like, there's certain things that are just out of your control, and luckily Zach, our DP, had a generator in his van that we were able to plug in and get gas for and power the whole shoot for until the power came up, like, you know, 6 hours later. And so it was just crazy. And just recently, because besides writing and producing, I also do audio for other people's projects. I just did a project with one of our grips, and and the first thing he said was like, "Man, that night when the power went out, that was crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what this guy remembered." That's what Keith remembered, was that, like, "Oh man, the power went out. That was crazy." So, you know, it was definitely memorable to the whole team to, like, you know, it's challenges, they just come up and you got to figure it out. But that was freaky for sure. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. And this has nothing to do with the film. For you both, what kind of music do you both like? Like, what's on your playlist?
It's a great question. I mean, I guess I'll jump in. A lot of, you know, it really depends on where I'm at in sort of like my, like, almost like anxiety levels for like life right now. Like, honestly, like as of late, there's been a fair amount of, like, you know, sort of like ambient melodic, like, let's keep it kind of nice and chill. Like I love going and turning it up and whatever electronic music or stuff. But honestly, as of late, it's been a whole lot of like kind of stuff, you know, just stuff that doesn't demand too much from the listener. Other times in my life, let's turn it up. But right now, I am enjoying a fair amount of relaxing stuff. I don't know about you, Laura.
I mean, yeah, I think I I have three older brothers, and so I think maybe part of the reason of this, you know, this brother relationship in the film was so like compelling and loaded for me. But I have an older brother who sang and played guitar, and so I
Nice.
grew up kind of listening to him, like singer-songwriter, James Taylor, you know, Paul Simon, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
whenever I'm stressed, I listen to those like old school 70s singer-songwriters, and it makes me think of my brother. So that's kind of my go-to lately.
Oh wow. Okay. James Taylor, I like him.
Yeah,
Great.
kind of hard not to like, I think.
And if you two were gonna do a karaoke song, what do you think you would sing?
Oh,
Um,
gosh.
yeah, what do you think, Laura?
I'm like petrified of karaoke. I just think I don't know if I would run and hide. I just think I get so nervous when I'm in that position. But
I used to
yeah,
be the same way, but I've definitely been leaning into it now. I've been a big fan of that 90s band Fastball. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
never knowing the way. You can see the road that we walk on is paved in gold. Like, I'll kill some Fastball these days. Like, I got them on lock. But that's my weird random 90s karaoke jam.
Okay.
will you share yours? Do you have one, Rocco?
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually there's a band called Fozzy. It's actually the wrestler Chris Jericho. It's his
Wow.
band,
Cool.
and they have a song called Judas, and it's a really good rock song. And some bars have it, some bars don't. But the bars that do have it, I like to do it.
That's awesome. Very
Well,
cool. Maybe one day I'll muster the courage and
we'll
I'll
feed Laura some drinks next time we're out, and well, I bet you there's a secret karaoke song hidden in there. Laura,
Right?
I've
Yeah,
seen you sing
exactly.
before. We went to college together, remember? I've
yeah,
seen you
yeah.
sing
Oh boy.
And this is another question I always ask my guests is I'm a big horror fan. Are there any horror films that you both like to watch?
I think the scariest movie still that I've ever seen is The Exorcist. And if I ever really
Yes.
want to like get amped up or get scared, like it's just terrifying. I watched it when I was way too young to watch it, and I think it's just the scariest movie ever made. So that would be my top choice in that
All
genre.
right.
Yeah, I love horror films. I will say I have another classic though, and some people argue, but the original Alien, which some people, I don't know if they even argue that that's a horror, but to me, I still watch that movie and I don't know, like it terrifies me. I will still watch that movie and be like, oh no, this is, and I think partly it's because, I mean, it's obviously sci-fi and it's set in space, but it's done in such a realistic way. It feels real. And so the whole time that it's happening, you're just like, this is everyone's worst nightmare is to be stuck on a spaceship with like the scariest alien of all time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Alien.
But you know, if you have someone on the ship like Sigourney Weaver, if you have someone like her on the ship, I think I would feel safe.
Absolutely. I never go to space without Sigourney Weaver. I'll tell you that much. It's just not.
Rule number one.
And I guess the last question I will ask you both is, where could fans follow you both at, and also follow the film and keep up on when it's going to come out?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we have our official Instagram page is at As Easy as Closing Your Eyes, and that's sort of the main hub of updates. Sort of we're putting a lot of stuff up there about festivals and screening dates. We have our official website too, where there's a link to it on the Instagram page. It's Paper Horse Pictures / As Easy as Closing Your Eyes, and we'll have a whole list. Like we already have a growing list of festivals and screening dates with ticket links and all kinds of stuff. We're on the festival run for a while, and we're excited about eventually, premiering the film online. It's going to be a little bit still because we want to put it in theaters first and then go online. Yeah. But and then yeah, my personal Instagram is at Ole Golden, OLE Golden. If you want to follow me and see what's up in my world, and
Ole Golden.
Ole Golden.
My Instagram is probably the best for me, and it is Laura.Coover. So LAURA.COOVER. But yeah, I'm tagged in a lot of the As Easy as Closing Your Eyes stuff, so I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for coming on and talking and doing the show. I appreciate it. I know you had something to do, Laura, so I appreciate you coming on early and doing it.
Thank
you so much for having us. This is you're so wonderful to talk to. This is
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. Well, we'll definitely have a great day and have fun showing the film at the festivals.
Yeah, we premiere this Friday LA Shorts in Los Angeles, so it's gonna be really exciting. We're really amped up for it, and yeah, we hope people find the movie and enjoy it. So thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.